Hi and welcome to another episode of Cafe Chronicles. I'm Steve. Today a little bit of a different one. We've got her on the road, so I'm just starting to kind of get it tuned up. Little bits and pieces that I've noticed just as I've started to ride it a little bit that just need a little bit of attention. Nothing major, but two things that I'd like to try and address in this episode. So let me show you a little bit what I mean. The first is an issue with the speedo, and what's happening is the speedo is actually starting to bounce erratically once it gets to a certain speed. I have a feeling that it's stable. I'm going to take the bike out now for a little ride and hopefully try and recreate or show you guys the issue so that you can see it happening. You guys will hopefully see in the footage that I'm showing you here that as we take it up to certain speeds that the needle starts to bounce around erratically. So I'm going to try and recreate that for you just out on a little ride to show you. The other thing then that I noticed, and I'll see if I can show you that while I'm out on the ride as well, the front brakes, even though it's new pads and everything, when you're just about coming to a full stop, I find that the brakes squeal a little bit. You get a little squeaking and squealing. So I'm gonna try and show you guys what that sounds like, and then we'll go and we'll have a look at trying to sort it out. As always, let's get stuck in. Okay, so we're back in from a little ride, making their little squeaks when we're just coming to a complete stop. I think we'll take a little look at that. So the idea there, and what I put on there was molly grease, but the whole idea of what's going on, what I've read online, and hopefully that will sort it. The pads where the piston actually touches the pads, as it starts to press the pads against the disc, you basically have a little bit of shuddering in the pad, and that shuddering is actually where you get that squeaking noise. So seemingly just where the pistons contact the pad, you put a little bit of either silicone grease. Some people have brass grease. Some people use different types, lithium grease and things like that. I had moly grease there, which has lithium in it. So basically, you put a little bit of that on it. Be careful not to get it on the fronts of the pads or anywhere that might contact the discs. Yeah, try it at that. So I've popped them on, so we'll see how it goes, and hopefully it'll do the trick for us. I'm just fastening it up now. It started raining out, so we're lucky that we got our little ride in earlier on. So I won't be able to test the brakes out until tomorrow to see if they stop the kind of shuddering, the squeaking. Hopefully it did the trick, but we'll see tomorrow. We'll tighten everything up for the time being. You know, the thing is with this bike, and I've said it to you guys before, my idea with the bike is not to have something here that, you know, is basically an ornament that I can't ride or that somebody can't enjoy. The whole idea here is to have a rideable, functional, usable motorcycle that's capable of riding out and being a competent motorcycle, and so that the brakes will stop you when you need them to stop you, and the engine responds when you need it to respond, and you know, and all that kind of good stuff. So that's the idea. That's why I'm kind of, you know, particular about these things. I want to make sure that, you know, we continue to have that kind of a feel to the bike. So okay, so next we'll have a little move on to lubing up the little speedometer clock and see if this will help it at all. Alright, so I've done a few little things here. One, you'll notice that I cleaned and lubed up the cable. I did the same with the holder here. I just blew some cleaner down it. In the drive here, you'll notice that there's actually two spaces here, because one was actually for the odometer and the other was for the speedometer. So what I've done is I've switched them over. You know, I have a little kind of a blocking plate here for this one. I switched them over. I put the speedometer cable into the top one, whereas I had it in the bottom before. And I'm going to connect it back up. Back up here. Oop. I'm going to connect it back up here and into the back of the little speedometer here. Tightened up, back in place. Okay, what do you reckon? We'll take it for a little ride and see if our adjustments to the brakes have done anything, and also we'll see if our adjustment to the speedometer cable has done anything. Who knows? All right, so I think we've done pretty well. At this stage, we did our fix on our front calipers, so they were squeaking a lot. You heard it there in the video. What we ended up doing was using some of that moly lube, that grease with lithium in it there. And basically the idea is that the brake pad, when the piston pushes it against the rotor, it starts to, just as you start to get to a complete stop, it starts to kind of shudder at a really high frequency. And that high frequency generates the squeal, actually from the piston touching the back of the pad, which is really kind of crazy. So what we did was we put the lube on there, put it all back together, took it for a little ride, and beautiful, it was gone. So that's nice. We didn't have to worry about that problem on the rear brake, because the rear brake is not a caliper, it's actually a drum brake. And if you remember earlier in the series, we rebuilt that with new shoes, so that's all kosher. As for the speedo drive, that didn't work out so well. So you saw that we took it out, we cleaned it, we lubed it, tried it back in, but it's still bouncing all over the place, the needle on the speedo. As soon as you get to about 80 kilometers an hour, it's bouncing all over the place. So I could take the, lift the bike, take the front wheel off, take the drive apart and see if I can figure out what's going on with that, and that would be the right way to go about it. But I kind of want to just take the drive away and change out those two instruments. And the reason why, both the tach and the speedometer, the reason why is that the quality I'm not happy with at all. I think they were about $30 for the pair. And I bought them because they looked nice, and I didn't really have any kind of frame of reference to know what I should be getting. I don't like them at all. They're not accurate. They're not clear. They don't have any indications on them of your turn signals, oil pressure, neutral switch, your headlight beam and dip, nothing like that. And although that doesn't seem like information you really need, and it's really not, that stuff's really handy. And if you notice, back in one of the earlier episodes, I actually made up a bracket that sits in between the two instruments, and it has two LEDs on it, one for oil pressure and the other for neutral. And they're really helpful, and I really love them. I'd like to also have some for the turn signals and for the headlights dipped and beamed as well, because I think it'd be really helpful. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to just rip them out, and I'm going to put in a new one. Maybe it'll be just one, maybe it'll be two. I've heard really good thing about Acewell. They've got some good stuff. Dime City Cycles has. Also Moto Gadget have one. I'm not sure. I'm not sold on the Moto Gadget one, because I don't see yet, and I have to do a little bit more research, but I don't see a massive benefit for going for a Moto Gadget instrument over another brand. I was hoping that with Moto Gadget they might have some sort of a bus technology that would go from the M unit to the gauge, to the instrument, so that all you'd need maybe is one wire, and it would show you, the turn signal light. It would show you different things that are coming from the M unit. But I don't think it's that smart. So if it's not, I really don't know what the benefit is. If anybody thinks differently, please let me know in the comments. There's another third party, sort of a generic one, that keeps popping up on Amazon and on YouTube. People have had lots of good success with that one too, so maybe I'll change it out for that. Let me know what you think. Maybe you're kind of looking at that saying, they look good, don't go for something like that. Let me know what you think of that. So that's kind of it for the episode. I kind of wanted to bring you through, I've been riding the bike for a while. Now I'm kind of troubleshooting a little, kind of like, let's say, nitpicking little issues in the bike. So hopefully you guys get to see that, and you see kind of how it goes and what the story is there. Hopefully by this stage you've been enjoying the season. We're at episode 44 at this point, so it's been definitely an amazing learning journey for me. It's been pretty cool, and I've kind of got the build, I don't know whether you'd call it an obsession or an addiction, but I think it lies somewhere in the middle there. It's definitely been an amazing experience, and it's been fantastic actually being able to get out and ride that machine. So hopefully if you guys have made it this far into the season, that you'll consider subscribing and liking. Thanks a lot for tuning in. You guys stay safe out there, and I'll see you soon.